Told you it wasn't going to be all too long. Into the ninth round we go, and again, if you're just joining, welcome. My name is Ito, and I'm here to bring you through Recon 5, or ex-Recon 5, I should say, versus Eclipse Esports. And as I mentioned in that pregame that we had a couple of minutes earlier, I think this veto is really, really good for Eclipse, as they've been a bit on the upswing as of late, and actually had a pretty good win over Mythic recently. It was 22-19, so it was close. Incredibly close, but it's still, you know, it's a win over Mythic, which is one of the higher end teams in MDL, and for a team that's otherwise 4-9, or yeah, 4-9, excuse me, I think they'll gladly go ahead and take that dub. Let's see if they can go ahead and keep it up against Recon 5, because this has been a team that's kind of struggling. Really, they can't get past the starting line in a lot of cases. They've had a lot of crushing defeats on Inferno, but as we enter this pistol, John will just cross over. Okay, well. Is my mic that bad right now? It says that it's really good on OBS. That's the second person now who said that the mic is bad. Huh. Okay, well, let me go ahead and up the mic real quick. You can hear me fine? Well, I don't know who to believe at this point. Just let me know if my mic starts peaking, because thing is, I might get a little bit excited how John can possibly hold down the site in a pretty sick fashion. Unfortunately, the easy shots that he had kind of flying towards him won't be available, and he'll just get rushed up. And what a strange take this is from Recon 5, I gotta say. Eventually, they're going to go ahead and make their way onto the site, get the bomb down, and Jaspimp, who I pointed out as being the player to watch for ex-Recon 5, is absolutely crushing it at the moment. That's going to be a double kill for him, triple in the round. And while I'm trying to figure out my mic issues, Jaspimp will completely take my breath away and absolutely own that first round for ex-Recon 5. Glad to hear that the mic is doing better, but I'm just confused on what the issue was in the first place. Sorry about that. Could have put a noise gate. Okay, sorry about that. Had to go ahead and change an audio setting there. Hopefully it should be sounding a little bit better. I didn't change any settings, so apologies. I'm a little bit out of it for these first couple of rounds, but thing is, looks like it got off to a pretty crazy start. That scout, excuse me, that was forced up from Nero, found a headshot on Jaspimp, who was over towards T-Ramp. And the second kill should only just be a tag. Nero doesn't want to try to overstay over towards Arch side, and he'll back up. But this is a pretty good take so far from Recon 5. Despite losing a player, they're working hard for map control. They've taken the top of Banana, and now they're slowly working up brackets as well. And Eclipse Esports, considering this kind of half-buy that they have, they can't really afford to dedicate resources over towards brackets all too much. They have Nero, who's in a pretty solid position, and John, I mean, I guess, can probably get one or two from that position if he's lucky. But really, I'm going to have to bank a lot on Nero to pop off here. He's already gotten the first kill, and that's already impressive enough. But maybe anything more? No, not going to be the case. The CTs, their major lifeline that they're probably going to be banking on to win out this round for them, has been taken out. And R5 will be rotating to the other site completely. They don't want to have to go ahead and mess with this. However, the B-bomb site is still very under control from Eclipse. They have a player in Johan waiting on top of the flower pots who will take down Daryl, not even checking that position. Recon 5, they're running out of time at the moment. Sure, they have Jet who's going at... What are they doing? Why are they trying to bring bomb over to A? There's people at mid. This is an absolute disaster from Recon 5. Oh my god, that was so sloppy. Recon 5, even if there wasn't a player over towards mid who just wide swung, I don't think they had time. Either way, it was going to be insanely close. R5 will choke away the round, but that is really, really bad from R5. Not only did they just lose against pistols, but just the call was non-existent. Jet had a really solid position over towards CT. He could just kind of bunker down, but thing is, that position's really not going to be useful for more than anything than kind of being a pincer for the inevitable B push that was probably going to be coming in from R5, but they lost that player towards Flower Pot, and they just didn't want to mess with it otherwise. R5, whatever. Regardless, they're just going to choose to push in over towards A. And, of course, you know, sometimes a simpler strat is going to work out for them. Panning out in the long term, they find first 2 kills. John will then make his entrance upon the site. Sitting in pit, he gets 2. And again, R5 have been ground down to a halt. They still aren't clearing out this player over towards pit. Daryl really couldn't do anything. He had 2 angles to check, neither of which would have actually done him much of any good. The crossfire is perfect, and Eclipse, again, off the back of that really strange round that they were able to get away with, will extend it to 2. God, I'm just so confused. Like, what was the big... I don't know, man. R5. The force up not working means that they're eventually going to be put on to just a couple of blocks. Balance. Yeah, that's just a pretty unstoppable Molotov combo that Eclipse managed to utilize. And they'll utilize it very well. That's going to be a free kill on Valens, who only had a deagle to speak of. Maybe someone like Jet can pick it up, but can't really have high hopes for this round. Eclipse have already taken all the big parts of map control as well. Banana is all theirs. Brackets, they have a 3-man setup. At this point, it's just going to be seeing who can pick away the most at these R5 players. The answer is going to be our boy Nero. Tap away. Clean anti-eco coming out from Eclipse, however. That's going to be a good headline for them as they head into this next gun round. That second round, I'm sorry, I can't get it out of my mind. That was so strange to me. Mudkip's World saying, what do you think about RBG versus ex-Recon? If we're saying who's going to win it, RBG for sure. RBG is like a legitimately really good team. One of the better ones in MDL, I'd say. And, well, I mean, look, ex-Recon 5, they have good pieces, but they are definitely not meshing together very well at the moment. At least they've managed to go ahead and force a standard default for now. No aggro map control being worked for by Eclipse. They have a pretty solid hold. We're on brackets, excuse me. But otherwise, I mean, they just aren't really all too committed towards anything. Eclipse, they're fine playing passive over towards B. And R5 really are just not tempering the beast at all. Sitting in their positions. Daryl, by the way, I think is, I want to say like Jet's cousin or something like that. I don't know. I think they're related in some way. I might be wrong. Maybe I've just been baited by that. But I know that he played with Valens a long time ago, back when they were known as 40-6-2 in ESEA Open, where they got second place. So, you know, at least Daryl has a bit of history with this team, and thing is, he was actually one of the better performing players last time around for the ex-R5 squad. As for right now, however, he hasn't even had to come online this round. Fugly has found the only kill so far, and although R5 are extending for another kill, it's just going to be Nero who's awaiting them. Another triple spray down. This time, it didn't even look necessarily competitive. The first one, he was being peppered away at by the Glocks, but against 3 rifles, he still wins it out. Solid showing. You're going to be seeing a couple of upgrade pistols, HE grenades for the T side now. However, the counter util from Eclipse Esports is really strong at the moment. There is actually a nice shot from Fugly to take down Nero, however. I guess getting things off on a good note. But I don't think Eclipse Esports are really respecting what they're going to be up against here. John, he's flanking towards mid. He gets the first one, no problem. Surprisingly, Fugly is actually the one to trade that out. A silly exchange over towards the trenches area. But regardless, R5 will continue trying to push onwards onto B. Valens, as his teammates fall all around him, will be left all by his lonesome. One against 2, excuse me. And thing is, this is actually a pretty winnable clutch from him. Obviously, he doesn't have the benefit of the information that, you know, both of these remaining CTs are over towards B. In fact, I think it's still going to be B, judging by the way that they're playing. But this gives a lot of time for Valens to set up in a really strong post plant. The smoke out towards Moto. Makes it a big question mark. He could be anywhere from cubby to graveyard to back pit or anything. But Valens is none of the above. He's actually rotated all the way out through boiler. This isn't perfect. It's an area where you can crossfire and trade out, really well. And that's exactly what happens. Johan trades it out, no problem. It's a good attempt, though, from Valens. He's able to get 4 guns out of the hands of Eclipse Esports as well as a bomb planted. So that'll be a bit more money to have and add to their pockets, which isn't going to be really their biggest issue. They can get money, no problem. It's actually being able to do anything with it that's going to be the real tough cookie for them. It's still very early days, all things considered, however. Maybe we can see a bit of a switch up. Jet coming online with the AWP might be the change that they need. However, matching up against a player like Nero, I can't exactly stay positive. Nero is wonderful in his own regard. Beautiful HE stack from Zeptic and Droid over towards B will make things even a little bit worse, as if R5 really needed that. However, despite it all, Jazz Pimp will continue to be the beacon of light for R5 so far as he gets the entry over towards B. But this is already slow. Recon 5, they can't bother with actually execing B at this point. They've wasted so much time. Johan has brought himself over. The body has been placated towards the back of B at the moment. And there you have it, R5. They'll concede control of B and just try to run up through brackets instead. The thing is, it's actually a nice little shift what they're doing, but they're just not in tradable positions. Valens and Fugly will both feed themselves to the beast who's known only as John. And I think Jet actually might go ahead and do the exact same. Another round, ground down to a halt because of a little bit of a miscomm perhaps on the R5 side. There's no trade out. And it takes a wonderful peek out from Jet to actually even get that far. 1 for 2, yet again, over towards mid. It just feels like Eclipse are completely smothering them. As Droid will close us out onto Jazz Pimp. Another opportunity is completely squandered by Recon 5. Dead Fracture saying, dang, Eclipse looking good. And you know what? I think it's partially Eclipse looking good. They have a solid grasp on their fundamentals, and John is doing a good job, at shutting out any early pushes from R5. But at the same time, this is stuff that I would not expect out of Recon 5. That was extremely sloppy. Like, they didn't play for trades whatsoever. Valens was just running up Arch with bomb. Or one of the two players were. Either way, they just kind of fed themselves. Again, I mean, these players are way better than I'll ever be. There's a reason they're playing an MDL, and I'm just kind of casting them, but I can't help but just notice how just bad this has been for R5 so far. I'm hoping they can come online. Jaspimp certainly seems to be trying his hardest. But they've already lost 2 guns. Jet is anchored over towards mid with the bomb in his grasp on only a single smoke to really sell a fake. I don't know. I mean, this is kind of a weird approach to the round from R5. They're burning out a bit more util, which is good. But I need to still keep a wary eye on Jet. What is his next move? Fugly has died from Zeptic over towards Coffin, so B is pretty much going to be a big no-no for them. And everybody else just kind of falls as quickly. 7-1. There seems to be a Brazilian different things that are going wrong. Recon 5. I mean, a couple of more rounds would be okay. I think as of late, Inferno has become a little bit more T-sided, a little bit more T-friendly. Just because of the eco changes, if nothing else. But I don't know, just how teams can play around it. This isn't promising at all so far. Nothing has really stopped Eclipse so far. Nero, a player that I pointed out as being absolutely crazy and possibly one of the best in the entire server, is definitely showing up. Droid is doing the exact same. The two will demolish every single player from Recon 5 who's trying to flood over towards B. And blisteringly quick round right there. But this, I mean, this is still not over. 8-7 is possible. Am I going to say it's likely? No. No, I would definitely not say it's likely, but Recon 5, if they get a couple of more, to continue my past thought, I definitely think they can at least try to work them. Okay, no, Jazz Pimp, that's not the nade you need to throw. He just whaps his teammate with that. That's funny looking. I don't think that's really the big problem from R5, however. This is a standard enough bracket take that they're doing. There's so much team damage just to actually get up here, but whatever. They've gotten a kill off of it. Now 2 players will have to be brought over from Eclipse. Just go ahead and stem the wound a little bit if they can. And they'll peek. They'll go ahead and very confidently peek at that. Again, a bit more team damage going through eventually ends up leading to Daryl's death. But Eclipse have retaken the man advantage. There is Droid, however, watching the flank, and I don't think Valens can actually make a flank work out from this. Keen on it. Droid will get a freebie. Despite that trade that R5 was desperately looking for, they're not able to hold on to it and not able to hold on to that man advantage. Again, they'll lose it. 3-2. Oh, they have double smokes. I guess you can go ahead and try to point that out as something they could potentially work on. But what's a big move? I mean, is it just going to be a coffins and CT smoke? They're making a ton of noise while doing this. This is going to be free for Nero. I mean, just no qualms at all. He basically just wins this. Yeah. I'm guessing the plan for Recon 5's second smoke was just to resmoke CT and hope that there is no one playing by coffins or something? I don't know. Hindsight is 20/20, but I'm thinking that a coffin and CT smoke would have been a little bit better to maybe at least guarantee that plant. Dead Fracture is asking, so what do Recon 5 need to do to bring it back? And I can't really disagree. I think literally everything needs to be improved. They need to trade each other out a little bit more securely. This is just looking absolutely dismal right now. We have John, who is at least exposing himself to a bit of a strange position, and will give up his life for the cause. So this is one of the more promising rounds for R5 in a while. Still not secure, but they have that smoke. They can easily go ahead and resmoke Moto. The retake has already begun, so we'll get to that a little bit later, because Zeptic, he's finished the round. I'm not able to get a single coherent thought through before Eclipse just sneak away another round. They are absolutely crushing it, and me trying to give the benefit of the doubt to Recon 5 is not helping anything. I can try to go ahead and, you know, believe in them, but Eclipse Esports, they're playing incredible. And Recon 5, I mean, they haven't given me anything to really to believe in. They just look a little messy at the moment. It was a 2v2, that was rough, and it could have gone either way, but it's just so hard to kind of play against that pace that Eclipse were bringing. And now they're just being pincered away by Ops. This is, quite honestly, just kind of a speed run at this point. It's moving so quickly. Aggressing for more. Johan, he'll get a freebie. There's still lots of utility that remains in R5. When do they actually toss out the smokes? The answer is a little bit too late. Brutalizing, just round after round. The same story continues. Well, at least Recon 5 got one round. So, you know, got that going for us. They're great on pistols. And I saw someone mention a little bit earlier that Eclipse didn't have the best T side versus Mythic. I mean, I suppose. That's like basically the last lifeline again I can think of for R5 at this point. That they have a godly CT setup. I've seen at least the core of this Recon 5 roster of Valens, Jet, and actually just those two players now that I think about it. Actually no, Valens, Jet, and Daryl. I've seen them at least do some pretty decent stuff. But that was on Overpass. And different map, different story, different kind of team that they're playing up against. They're not going to have any luck. I always said that stomps are the most difficult thing to cast, and maybe this is exactly why. Eclipse are just kind of on another level at the moment. They're hitting some great shots. You know, I don't want to like downplay how they're doing at all because Recon 5 aren't having the best time at the moment. But, you know, Nero and Johan are doing fantastic. And aggressing at the right times. I say as Nero dies by aggressing. Cassitus. There's been a couple of like really strange things that they've pulled off. Like John, you know, he pushed in through trenches at mid. I can argue that's not exactly the smartest move in the world, but, you know, toss it in every now and then. You know, what's the harm? You're up 12-1. Or possibly up 12-2. Recon 5, I should mention, got the opening pick. And so we're back into a little bit of a better spot. Jaspimp even wins at 50-50 versus Droid as well. He was hard checking that position. It's still Jaspimp comes out on top. He's going to try to sell something over towards B if he possibly can. That will mark the beginning of a bit more information pushing from Eclipse. And they'll run right into the maws of the beast. Another kill for Daryl. He hasn't had all too many this game, but the ones that he has gotten have been impact frags, that's for sure. Johan will watch across here, and I'm pretty sure Fugly is watching. Or not Fugly, excuse me, Valens is watching. He hears the footsteps over, but regardless, it doesn't matter. Johan is against 5 people here, and there's going to be a long way to go before I even get somewhat excited about the possibility of clutch. And just like that, Recon 5 posts a flawless round. I'm starting to believe. 12-16 confirmed. HLTV, just go ahead and update it right now. We're entering the final one of the half, and you know, maybe Eclipse just kind of lost their duels there. I don't think there's anything all too much to it. It's just kind of Recon 5. That's what they've been working for this entire half. And finally, the fruits of their labor are something that can be picked. They're ripened. Heavy util stack over towards Banana, but already Johan is embarking back towards the A-bomb site. This is a pretty neat setup, I say, as Zeptic dies. Really, that's 2 caster curses in 2 rounds? Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and pretend everything sucks. That's the only way to apparently be a good caster. Johan hitting a nasty one at mid. Well, it's not really looking any better for Recon 5 in the final one of the half. Despite that flawless round that they posted, Jet is the only one to find any kills for Recon 5. And this is looking to be one of the quicker games of the probably entire season. It just feels like in a lot of the ways that, you know, Eclipse Esports have been winning, it's just, I don't know. I mean, they're just kind of like walking into them at some points. There hasn't been much util usage either, and Eclipse Esports, yeah, they're doing really, really good, but Recon 5, this isn't the team that I was expecting to see. They're looking a little bit rusty at the moment, that's for sure. And Dead Fracture, yeah, these 2 teams are relatively evenly matched. Recon 5 played fewer matches, but they're 4-7, and Eclipse are 4-9. Unless things have updated and I'm not quite correct. So, I mean, at least on paper, this should be an even sort of game. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Standings aren't, I guess, the best way to make predictions, as you can never tell what's going on sometimes. But from what I can tell through the chaos and mess and the kill feed, is that Eclipse are absolutely trying to overwhelm that A-bomb site, and it is going to be working for the most part. They've gotten the C4 down with barely any time off the clock, just kind of pressing W into them. Valens is clearing a bunch of angles, but neither of them, or any of them, excuse me, are where enemies actually are. Just a tough retake. You can't do anything about that. That's pistols. This is looking almost done. That pistol's the last possible hope that Recon 5 to get themselves to what am I trying to say here? It was the last possible hope to get themselves back into this game, but we're not going to get there. Fugly has a Negev. And yeah, that's a Negev for you. Valens gets one with his Desert Eagle, but Eclipse are just showing no respect at the moment. Again, they press W onto the site. There's spam through CT for good measure. Daryl doesn't even get to see a player before he is removed from the fight. And it's Jazz Pimp against 5. And okay, at least he gets 2. But a third is nigh impossible. I feel bad for Jazz Pimp. He has been consistently showing up. He's 14 and 15. But that's not nearly good enough. Possibly end of the line. Recon 5 will have to pull off the most insane, most improbable comeback that I have ever seen. And I'm not sure if anyone's really believing in that one yet. Jazz Pimp is just ready to get this one over with, pushing down mid. I think people are just about ready to leave the server as well, but they have been granted a kill. That provides them a little bit of hope. I guess you can even say that was a little bit of information found by Jazz Pimp as he just ran it down mid. So they have that going for us. With Jet peeking out alt mid, I think he's going to lose his head here. John, I think he's keying on the angle. Just spam through the wall at this point, man. You know someone's there. You saw him. Patience is one hell of a virtue for him, however. Recon 5 looking to hold the line if they can. There's a push beginning over towards B, and I'm still really interested in what's happening over at this alt mid duel. You can just assume that everybody at Recon 5 is going to completely crush it, apparently. What the hell just happened there? The Negev actually did do something. He got 2 kills. Daryl, he picks up a double as well. Well, this is how comebacks begin. I like a hiccup halfway through that. And then Negev, in a very rare occurrence, will actually pop off. What a strange kind of game this has been. I just, again, it's baffling. Of the 3 rounds that Recon 5 have gotten this entire game, the first one was a pistol, the second one was a flawless round, and the third one was a Negev force up. You know, that sounds about right. Sounds about right. Balance will be trying to go for banana control here, and Eclipse Esports, although they're not watching for it, don't exactly need to. Johan just goes ahead and checks on it every now and then. Will get rewarded with the MP9 killer. Probably gonna toss that over to one of his lads. Eclipse don't really have to do all too much other than maybe take their time as they push up. John is already closing the distance with the Tech 9 and Stowe. It's just, the positions are too strong from Eclipse Esports to really convince me that they can win this. Or that R5 can win this, excuse me. There is Jet, who's in kind of a power position, however. But he's going to need to find all these kills extremely quickly. There's number 1, but he's given away his position off of that. Has kit in play, smoke, and flash. Crossfire will be adopted, and Eclipse Esports, well, I think it's just about time for them to go ahead and close the curtain. It will be a completely and utterly one-sided game as Recon 5 get completely decimated by the side of Eclipse. And I was expecting an Eclipse win. I think this is a team that has a lot of individually skilled, incredibly skilled players, excuse me. And on top of that, the veto is really, really, really good for Eclipse. But, I mean, I don't even think it was a matter of the map. I think it was just kind of the player diff, you know? Really, Recon 5 are looking a little bit rusty at the moment. So, at least they can try to keep their head up. I'm running out of good things to say about ex-Recon 5 at the moment. I'm seeing a couple of people asking about the RBG versus ex-Recon 5 game. I think it's going to be RBG, possibly like 16-0. Like, this could be a really one-sided game. Ex-Recon 5, maybe they can treat this one as a little bit of a warm-up. They need to work on their fundamentals. I mean, again, that's just me from the third person. I'm the caster. I have the benefit of hindsight, and I have the benefit from being able to see all of this from the bird's eye view. But I think they're kind of aware of that as well. There were some really strange, uncharacteristic fumbles from the side of ex-Recon 5. Things that you would never expect out of a team that's ran by Valens, you know? That one time when they were trying to rotate bomb from B to A with 13 seconds left on the clock. I mean, it's just, that stuff is obvious. And I'm pretty sure Valens and co, they're going to be realizing that as well. Eclipse, fair play to them. They played incredibly well. So I'm hoping they can go ahead and try to keep up this momentum. However, that's actually going to have to do it for me. Unfortunately, I have to hop off. I have another cast on a different channel for a different division, so I'll go ahead and be over at the Counter Logic Gaming stream in about an hour's time. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please feel free to follow me on my Twitch or my Twitter. Both are down right there. And have a good one. Good luck, and see you later.